Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, before we move out of March, start spring and Q2, we must, as always, answer our questions, our monthly Q&A. You know the deal. The Riddler goes up. You drop your questions down below, and we take them the order we came in on. Of course, we go long here, so chapters tool down below so you can jump around. We're going to cover everything from the recent nerfings or continued nerfings, the best catch-all category card, and of course where I'm headed, how my outlook on earnings has been progressing so far through Q1. All that and more. So of course, if it sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we'll lead off with probably the most famed or infamous commenter we have, which is Card Dude, who asks a zillion questions, but he's been saving them up. So we're going to title this section Grab Bag, and you can bounce around. But we're going to talk about a lot of things to start us off with our guy. But he's a fan of the show, and we thank him for it. So he said he's been working on this since February 28th, so it's quite a while. But we want him to know all the things, so let's teach him. So he says, what's your opinion on the Capital One Cashback Duo, Saver plus Quicksilver, versus the Capital One Duo, Saver plus Venture X? I mean, I think the cashback doesn't make any sense, because if you're doing cashback, then just swap out the Quicksilver for a double cash or an active cash or whatever 2% cards you want. Saver makes sense. The Saver's fine, but the Quicksilver is not a competitive cashback card. So by default, the Saver and Venture X wins. The Venture X is 2-back on everything, which gives you coverage more than, of course, the Quicksilver. So I think the Travel Duo wins by default, simply because of how good the Saver is. And then it's, the Quicksilver is just, it's an underpowered partner card to begin with. In cashback, you're able to go anywhere you want because you're earning a common currency, which is cash, versus you have to earn, or you can take the cash from the Saver and put it in the venture miles, right? So don't even think it's close. Quicksilver just kind of ruins it. A few months ago on the Christmas Q&A, we're going way back now, you had mentioned that you were on someone else's family plan for YouTube Premium. That is true. Who's a friend of the show, wondering how does that work, because I read all-time members who are on the plan. I don't know what he does. I'm not anymore. I am on his premium YouTube plan. He had YouTube TV. He got rid of that. I am on his YouTube Premium plan. I gave him my email address for my YouTube account. He plugged it in, and there you go. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what he did on the back end for it. I can tell you with the YouTube TV, it was a little bit weird sometimes. He doesn't live in this state. So I would get the local news from where he's at, or when you're watching football season, I'd get games in his market, not in my market, which is fine. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But for right now, it seems to work. This individual has, a son in college who doesn't live with him. So I guess it's presumable that you would have people in the same family who are not under the same roof. But I know what you mean. Streaming services have started to crack down on this as a way to get, generate more accounts versus people sharing. So I don't know if he has to do anything special. It's been working for a few months now. Appreciative of it, because I'm now famous enough where people give me free stuff that I can easily afford but choose not to. So we like it. So I appreciate that. I can't give you much more intel because it's not my account and I don't mess with it. I can just tell you it works, and that's the setup. And that was the one difference I saw when he had the YouTube TV. He since got rid of it and got something else, which is fine. I don't watch a lot of TV anyways. But so far, so good. I wouldn't be surprised if they did eventually crack down on it. But again, how do you get around? He legitimately has a son in college who lives on campus, right? So it's one of those things. But I don't have any streaming services actually of my own, except for Amazon Prime, which is because I have Prime itself. So I don't really pay too much attention, honestly. Do you think Chase will raise the annual fee on the Sapphire Preferred? They'll either raise it or they'll slot in another card at the $250 to $300 price point. It just makes sense. I mean, I think you got to go with maybe slotting in another card, because your $95 Sapphire Preferred card is already so meh to begin with. Yes, I said that for you. Because the Strata Premier and the Wells Fargo Journey card are significantly better than the Sapphire Preferred, especially since you're getting rid of the points boost when booking through the portal. So I'd be concerned if I was Chase to just vacate the $95 tier, given how much better the competition is to me than already. But at the same time, you're also giving up a lot of room between what does the Sapphire Reserve cost $700 now and 195. There's a lot of room in there. So I almost say they're better off putting in another card. The same way on the business side, they have multiple tiers. They added like the Ink Premier, like what, $200 or something like that. I think they'd be better off doing something like that. It'll probably still suck, but that would make more sense. And then you're giving people a progression, and it's not as big a jump to go from 95 to 700. You can kind of move them up ladder. You could even argue maybe there's room for 4 total cards, but it's probably getting a little crowded. On the Citi Strata Premier, do you have to spend $500 on the hotel through Citi Travel to wipe out the annual fee for the $100 annual credit? Yes, I believe. It doesn't work booking directly. That's why I tend to lean Journey or Wells Fargo over Citi. Because Citi, you have to go through the travel portal, and you do spend $500 to trigger the credit. I don't know if it has to be all in one go. I think it has to be like a $500 stay, and then you get the full $100. But they don't piecemeal it to you, which I think is your second question. If your stay is under $500, you will not get $100. I believe that is correct. It's got to be $500 to get the $100 through Citi Travel. It's doable for sure. It's a little more annoying than it has to be than booking directly, but it's doable. Do you believe Capital One will really move all their credit cards to Discover Payment Network? I know VentureX may still be Visa Infinite, but your thoughts, how would that affect Capital One Duo? I don't really think it would affect it too much, and yes, I think they'll move the vast majority of them. American Express and Discover have fixed for a large part how their acceptance rates. I mean, that's always been the big concern about them. I don't think Capital One really wanted to buy Discover for the bank. I don't think they wanted the payment network. I think that's what everyone kind of presumed. The co-branded should definitely go. I mean, the main thing is the no foreign transaction fees, but they can choose to do that if they want because it's their payment network, right? Just like those benefits, they can choose to bring in the benefits if they want because it's their payment network. This is why I think the VentureX will probably stay, because I just don't know that it's worth their time and effort for one card to stand up to go out and source partnerships for travel insurances and incidentals and things of that nature when you already have Visa doing it for you. It's probably just easier to leave it on Visa. Plus, there's like 100% acceptance rate, I want to say, unless the person just doesn't take credit cards. I don't think it affects the Duo, really, because again, I guess it sort of does, because I mean the Saver has no foreign transactions, but again, they could match that because it's their payment network, so it shouldn't. And maybe you run into some acceptance issues if you go abroad, but even then, I think it's been fixed. And if acceptance turns out to be a big headache, then I do think they will make a push to rectify that. I don't know what the acceptance rates are now. So you'll probably either see them make a push in marketing to let you know, like Master, someone did it a while back. I think Amex was the one who had to overcome acceptance rates. So I think they could definitely do it. I think that probably is the plan long term to do it. It's also read as of February 28th, only new credit card applications for Capital One cards will have the payment network on Discover. I think we talked about that. Will merge with Discover Payment, which is a relief. Your thoughts again? Yeah, you're right. And people like Capital One, because of the no foreign transactions fees on all their cards, as we said, they could still do that because they own Discover. So it's really up to them if they want to carry that over or not. I think, yes, right now it makes sense. They probably I know they redid the MasterCard deal. Maybe they redid it for existing cards. Let's start originating new cards with Discover and then get that process down. And then maybe when folks' cards start to renew down the road, they'll convert them all over. I do think there will be a conversion at some point. I think it probably just takes longer than we would think to convert everything over. There's existing deals in place. To your point, maybe they do want to work on acceptance and things like that beforehand. But again, the no foreign transaction fees I don't think is a big deal because it's a choice, right? When you own the thing, you could say, all right, we're just going to move no foreign transaction fees over to Discover, or we're not going to. So if it doesn't work, that's still on them. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I do think that's a long-term play to move the vast majority of stuff over to their own network. It's just like what American Express does. And then like maybe the next play is to expand out the Discover network, how American Express is starting to expand out their network to now we're starting to see more cards issued by other lenders, but on the American Express network, right? We've seen some cardless cards, for example, the Rakuten American Express cards, people love to call it. which is technically the name, but it's still misleading. Opinion on Capital One Duo Saver plus Venture X versus Saver. Didn't we do this one already? Opinion on Capital One Duo Saver plus Venture. Oh, let's say it's a different. I mean, I think you just like me saying like the Venture is a terrible card. It's no contest. Anything with the Venture in it loses automatically. I'd go Saver plus Venture X. If you're gonna go Venture, just get a Sapphire Preferred, even though it's mad, it's still better than the Venture. Get a Citi Strata Premier. Get an autograph card will be significantly better, and it's free. So no contest, Saver plus Venture X. The guy who says based, what does it mean? I think it means like good job or something. I looked it up one time. We'll see if he responds and tells you what based means in the comments. I think I looked at it. It basically means like good job, I think. Or he could be telling me I suck this entire time and I say thanks like a dope. Find it amusing when you say near and dear to my heart when you talk about cash back, besides the other thing that amuses me when you call the Sapphire Preferred. I've said meh like 4 times, but I said it was meh just because I knew you liked it. Bank of America and Wells Fargo are near and dear to my heart. Nobody else cares. I care. Well, a few other people care about Bank of America. No one likes Wells Fargo except for me, and I mean there's like one other guy. Cashback is near and dear to my heart for sure. Plus, it's sort of an obscure saying you don't hear too much, especially describing plastic cards. Between these two, which do you think is more common or possible? 3 Citi custom cash cards or 4 Citi? It was like the same thing. I mean, I know 4 is possible. We have a guy who has like 4 or 5 of them, I want to say. So you can do it. If you had the right amount of Citi cards at the time, they don't care. I mean, you could definitely have 4 or 5 of them. I think you've run out of categories to hit, but it's a cool flex. Yeah, we have a guy here who has 4 or 5. I know that much. So it's possible. Which is more common? I mean, 3 is probably more common than 4, but it's still possible. Not sure if I'd asked or not, but would you keep the Citi Strata Premier long term if you had it? No, because the Journey exists. And I got the Journey finally. Because I like the Journey that much better. Why? Because it's got the 2 higher multipliers that I need. I can book directly to trigger the credit. I would be happy with the Strata Premier for sure. Its multipliers don't do a lot for me because I have coverage on all those at higher rates. But it's still good for travel insurance, so I lean Journey because it's got the 5, the 4, and the 5X. Plus the credit's easier to use in booking directly. So I would keep the Journey. I would take the Premier and make it another one of my custom caches. Then I'd have 3 to your last question. We're sort of getting there. I saw on one of your comments on the March 15th Sunday video that you said you got an autograph Journey. I did. You did finally get your hands on that card. Also, as of now, what all Wells Fargo cards do you have? I did get the card. I thought I was going to jump on a plane, but it turns out I was not going to jump on a plane, but that's why I got it. But unluckily or luckily, I have to spend a lot of money in my day-to-day usually, so I'm like halfway to the intro offer anyways. But it's funny, the card came in the mailbox and there were 2 bills with it. The yearly HOA and like the quarterly water bills. Like, well, that escalated quickly. So yes, I finally got it. I think I was like $224 or something like that. They just moved over a bunch of credit limit from my existing autograph card to that, which is fine. Those are the 2 cards I have. I have the autograph and I have the Journey. I don't really need the autograph for anything. Technically, it's my highest multiplier on like Uber, which I don't take almost ever, but since I have the card, I might as well leave it in my account for the times I do need it, but I really don't use it that much. I don't think I'll need it, but it's a really good card and it's free, so I'll keep it. But those are my 2. I could look at adding the Attune later, but I don't know if it covers a bunch of niche categories. I just don't know if I need anything. It does barbershops, but my barber only takes cash because he's probably money laundering, so I don't think it'll help me that much. But yes, I was happy to get it. Those are my Wells Fargo cards. Opinion on rumored Capital One Saver X card. I think they should probably do it. The same thing we said about Chase. I mean, there's a lot of room in there on the annual fee side for go from like what $395. You might as well $250. I think it would work. There's appetite for it. I just simply think Capital One needs to learn how to issue cards to these type of customers better. But I don't think they're going to change their ways. But, we've seen people who just can't get these cards because they have too many cards or what have you. But those are the type of people who would want these cards. I think it's a little bit, they've got to learn from that. But I think it would make a lot of sense to do it when we're like right in the heart of credit card season now. Spring is generally when we see a lot of this stuff. So we haven't seen it yet. Maybe late end of year, but I think they also probably have a lot going on with their payment network. So I'm going to say we don't see anything till like next year. Would be my guess. Do you believe Discover is actually working on trying to make their acceptance worldwide like Visa? We just kind of touched on that. I think they're probably more so evaluating, but well, they know because they made the purchase what the acceptance rate is. And I think it's either going to be a focus on expanding that or it's going to be a focus on marketing to change the perception of that. Kind of like how American Express went through a thing where like now accepted at 99% of places or whatever. It'll be one of the two, depending how bad the actual acceptance is. But I do think they will make some kind of push for that. Because that is what people think, it's like, hey, it's not accepted everywhere. Maybe it might not, I don't really know off the top of my head, but it'll be either a focus because you want to do that before you expand out to sell your payment network to other processors, which are other issuers, which would just make sense. Especially if that credit card processing rule goes through and you have to be supported by 2 payment networks, well, you don't want to lose out. Everyone would instinctively just do Visa and MasterCard, and maybe American Express. You want to be a player if that happens. So yeah, I would say yes, at some point we'll see something like that. Better Premium 2X catch-all now as of March 19th. They're Capital One Venture X or Built Palladium. I won't pick the Built Palladium for anything. Capital One Venture X, way more upside. If you use everything, which is pretty convenient to use, you get five. You come out ahead $5. It's a way better card than the Built Palladium. I've never really understood all the people saying, I'm going to swap out my Venture X for the Built Palladium, other than it's the 2X back. You get the Capital One lounges, which I'm a fan of. It's been a while since I've been to them, but I'm a fan of them. So, yes, Venture X, Built, terrible. 3 more. What kind of toothpaste do you think I should use? I think I have Colgate or something, but that's because I sell it on Amazon and I can just put it in my cart. I have not really looked into like levels of toothpaste. I think it's just my parents used to buy that and that's what I have. Or maybe it's Crest. Whatever you can get on Amazon, like the 3-pack is what I get. I've heard of Sensodyne. I am not qualified to tell you what kind of toothpaste. I just brush them twice a day, man. Use mouthwash and make sure to floss, I guess. I'm going to fall short. If we have any doctors out there, let them know. Are you going to start calling me grab bag dude? I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to say to a dude. Instead of Cariby dude, that's because I noticed in your Q&A you introduced me. Oh, well, I probably did in the beginning. Just so people are new here, they don't get your shtick, the shtick of like, I'm going to ask 20 questions. I mean, we've been at this for 17 minutes for one person. So I try to make it so people understand what we're about to do here. But again, you're like a super fan, so who am I to tell you no? So, if you want to be called grab bag dude, by all means, we can make that work. I'll get through the awkwardness of saying that. You might be questioned out for a few months, but you said that last time, so we'll see. Happy weekend. Thanks to you. Well, weekend, because of you, I'm shooting 5 videos a day because I got to do the Q&A. So yeah, enjoy your weekend. Do something fun for me while I labor away so you can know all the questions you need. I appreciate you writing in, though, so there you go. Tell your friends. All right. Everyone else's turn now. Jesus. Actually, he was an only child, too. Just didn't have to share anything. All right, DJ. When will the nerfing stop? Well, this is going to take a left turn. The AAA Daily Advantage, the Walmart 5%. What happened to Walmart? Oh, he's the AAA. Got a PayPal, Smartly, Built, a bunch of others. How long do you think until the custom cash gets nerfed? The custom cash is likely okay because for the most part, those cards seem fine because they've imposed a cap on them already. $500 a month, the Freedoms $1,500, Cash Plus $2,500. So I don't think they'd come for those as much because of the caps in place. I think almost similar to what we see in the world of, when folks started to push back on tipping, for example. Like there was a time when like people loved to talk about how generous they were with tips and whatnot. And I think the first thing to go is when people are like, uh-oh, things are costing me more. I don't feel I'm getting as much money as I should, whatever. They start to pull back on those things and be more outspoken about it. I think it's very analogous to that. Like costs go up at networks and issuers. They go and like, well, what else can I cut, right? The AAA one, I don't think was ever supposed to work. I think it just finally became so much of a headache that they finally stepped in. PayPal, I gotta imagine they don't make a lot of money on that thing, so making the money stay in-house was the way to start trying to stave off a full Devaluation smartly was never going to work. Built tried to fix itself because we were crushing it. I don't think the new version will be around for that long. So to answer your question, I mean, I think we've made it through about most of them. If you go back to I would also, considering the fee increases on the Sapphires and such and the Amex's nerfings as well, because they generally increase the price and then offset with credits that we presume they don't pay for. So I think we're probably about through it, only because I don't think there's anybody left. It is annoying, to say the least, because again, like most things, the value drops and you don't get anything in exchange for it. I would say, I think it's just more so this is the importance of not marrying any of these products. We move to Smartly, it doesn't work for us, and we move back. You could throw Bank of America in there too as a nerf, but I think most of the big guys have gone through and done their course correction. So I'm going to cautiously optimistically say we're probably good, but I think that's why it's a thing where they've always known this is happening. So okay, well, let's just offset by fixing some of these things we've put on for so long. We're not really getting away with things, but I think custom cash and those like that will be okay. Now, I was always surprised that Chase lets you have multiple Freedom cards. Because that was when the Freedom Flex came out. We're like, oh my gosh, you can have the OG Freedom and the Flex, and it was very exciting. So I think we'll be okay with that. Because I also think the amount of people who have multiple custom caches is very low relatively to the amount of Citi accounts they have. Again, you don't have to be a genius to figure out the custom cache thing, but I don't think it's widespread enough to do something yet. Doesn't mean they won't, but so that's my cautiously optimistic approach. If I run through the big names, I think all the big names have gone through and done their devaluations. I think. Apparently not, though, because Gold here says, how long do you think the Robinhood Gold card will be a 3% catch-all? Well, I think they'll conveniently leave it at 3%, but they'll change some stuff around it. I think there's a few different paths they could go. I think we'll absolutely see the annual fee of Robinhood Gold increase from $50. It's still a really good value for what you get. I mean, especially if you're matching, if you're doing the full IRA match, or the 3% match that they give you. Really good right there. I know you can take the margin and put it in something like SGOV and get your money back. They know this as well. So I think they could just outright increase the fee. I think they could, once they add, they've been pushing banking for a while, like private banking, I think regular banking too. Once they do the banking, they could copy a U.S. Bank of America model where, okay, if you want to keep 3%, then you have to have so many assets with us. Now, I think they would be smart to spread it out over banking plus brokerage. Since they started as a brokerage shop, you wouldn't want to say, well, I'm a brokerage shop, but I'm not going to credit you for assets in your brokerage account. I think they could do something like that. Or I think they could also take the U.S. Bank thing and just cap. Maybe it's a combination of hey, if you have this much money with us, and you can do this much spend a month at 3% back. I think they're going to continue to manage through credit limit and things of that nature and approvals. But it will happen in one form. I think they'll be very careful, though, to not remove the 3%. It was it earns 3%, but it'll be yeah, but, one of those things. That would be my opinion. There's a bunch of different ways they could do that. It'll probably be a combination of them, especially with this Platinum card rolling out. I think part of the Platinum card is to get people off of the Gold card already, because the Platinum card is such a grift, but we can see how it takes the Amex model and pays for itself through coupons and credits and such, and you can't hold both cards. So I think you could also argue they're almost already starting to a little bit, because when's the last time an issuer didn't want to come out with a duo? I mean, the last guy asked me about 5 different duos in a 20-minute segment, right? And they don't want a duo? That's weird, but what do I know? So I think you're right. I just think they'll be very careful with the wording to be no, it is a 3% card. But Kevin Moore here, speaking of 3% cards, what do you think about the Ollo Everyday Rewards being a catch-all card? So I'll put this on screen because the Ollo cards are sort of interesting. They started out, the Ollo Optum back in the day was a 3% unlimited card. Then Ally bought them, turned them into some credit cards for a little bit, then spun it off. It looks like they're with Merrick Bank now. The funny thing is, I don't see how you can actually apply for one. They just say respond to offers, like mailers, which I used to see back in the original Ollo days. They never sent me the optimum offer, unfortunately. But this card is a catch-all. I think it's okay. It's got a decent range of categories. You can see here, you're looking at 3x gas or EV charging, grocery stores, and drugstores. It's not amazing, but if you spend a decent amount in one of those categories, I think it could cover you off a little bit. But I wouldn't say every day it's not the best card we've seen. Plus, I think considering you don't even know how to get one, you're probably better off going with something with the autograph card. Wells Fargo gives you a lot of 3x for that. I think the triple cash from US Bank gives you a lot of 3x back as well. So I think the card, it seems fine for 3x gas and groceries. Again, not terrible. Drugstores is very hit or miss, but you can get that on the Freedom Unlimited. So I think it's, it's fine, but, considering they don't even make it easy to see how you would apply for this thing, I don't really know if it's worth that much effort looking into, considering how many other options there are. They give you a wide range of 3%, and again, some 5% cards. Again, granted, if you just wanted one card, it kind of does that, but I think I'd still go autograph card over this, just a wider range of 3% back. Again, I know it doesn't have every category, but still, it's close. All right. Elizabeth's here. It's probably Elizabeth S instead of Elizabeth's. I don't know. Pronunciation, right? Where PayPal will soon be nerfed, do you think Elon's new card? See, when I read this the first time, I thought you were talking about the Elon max cash cards, not like Elon Musk. New card stands a chance of replacing it as a decent rewards debit card. If not, do you anything similar? I think so. Elon is coming out with a 3% debit card from X Money. I think there'll be a run where it works, then it won't work. No one really knows why Elon will be able to do this if US Bank couldn't do this. I don't think it'll last. We all generally assume it's some kind of grifting, if you will, to get our information or whatnot. But he could already get it if he wanted it, I'm sure. So I'm not sure why, but I don't know how it could last when massive institutions have not been able to do this. We've seen this so often that we know something breaks in the formula after 2%. You can go a little bit higher, but not much before something breaks. So to go for 3% on a debit card, no less, going to be pretty tough. So no, I do not think it will last. I think there'll be a run where we all have fun with it and we talk about it and we'll look back on it years later and be like, man, that was fun. Anything similar? I don't. The PayPal debit card is such an anomaly. We're surprised it lasted this long. I'm almost okay with them changing it. And the change is basically that the PayPal rewards you earn from it can no longer be cashed out to your PayPal checking. You have to redeem them through another PayPal transaction, which might not be terrible. It just depends on how easy they make it to do. The next best would be the Target debit card, which obviously only works at Target, but I don't keep a list of debit cards. Someone will know down below, but I don't have anything that will work, unfortunately. But no, I can't imagine Elon's card lasting that long. Not to be a buzzkill, but I just can't really see it. All right, DRZ, will there ever be a better setup than 5 custom caches? Man, people love this. This is probably voted. We're in the middle of the Credit Card Madness tournament. If I've ever thought the custom cache was going to repeat as champion, it's because of this video. So gas, dining, groceries. I think the caveat being if you're a lower spender, but most of those categories you're not going to go crazy on anyways if $500 is enough. I think if you had 5 custom cash cards, you'd be pretty good. 5 custom cash cards, I'd add 1 double cash maybe for everything else, but even at 5 custom caches, you're pretty good. I have 2, and granted I have a bunch of other cards, but I was like, well, what would I use my 3rd one? Technically, gym memberships is on there, but there's a wide range of stuff: entertainment, home improvement, things of that nature. So yes, if you had 5 custom cash cards in your setup, I think you'd be almost untouchable, which is the argument to keep getting Citi cards just to get custom cash cards. As I've said before, I think the custom cash is what killed the Freedom and the Discover card. We used to rave over those cards. Now no one cares. If I could trade my 5 Freedom cards for 5 custom cash cards, I would do it today. So yeah, you're really onto something. Few more here. I should refresh to make sure. All right, 50 grand. I would like to ask something a little bit different. Well, normally that's the Red Sox guy, but he's not here, so I think you can take his spot. Since it is RJ Financial YouTube. You know, funny enough, this was going to be an all-purpose finance channel in the beginning 5 years ago, but no one seemed to care. We just talked about credit cards, and that's what stuck. Could you define what is a community property state? What was the purpose or intended of community property state? And in your opinion, do you think community property state laws are necessary in society today? So I'll admit I had to look it up myself. Reason I had to look it up because it's about marriage, and what good is that? What good am I going to be on that? But we'll do it anyways. So I will say Experian had a good article about it. So the quick answer that they gave was, a community property states spouses are considered joint owners of nearly all assets and debts acquired in marriage. However, most states use common law, which allows spouses to own property individually. The type of law your state follows dictates how property is divided up in divorce. So basically the difference is some states, the states in question are Arizona, California, of course, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin. So basically, I think what they're saying is the difference between, which I didn't even know this was a thing. It's fun. I guess we kind of confound the two when we're talking about it. But one allows you can own stuff individually. The other one, you got everything. It's like all or nothing, right? So what I presume is that back in the day, we don't need the feminist folks coming after us, but they're probably out marching and not watching this anyway. So
sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. Could you repeat that?
Apparently Siri on my work phone freaked out. So, which is weird because I didn't say Siri at all. And now I'm saying it's not going off. Anyways, the marching people probably aren't watching YouTube. That was the joke that it ruined. So I would imagine back in the day, it was because if you get married, the guy would still go to work and earn all the money, and the girl would stay home and do all the home stuff and pick up the kids and all that stuff. So if things go sideways and you get divorced, well, one person's continuously been earning money and the other has been working. You know, it's work to take care of the house, but it's not a job. Jobs pay, work is work, right? I think that we can make that distinction. So in order to make sure it's good, they say everything you got just becomes common between you guys. So when we split, it's even. And in that context, I think it makes sense. Again, someone can chime in if I'm wrong. I would be more than happy to read that. And so I think that's where it came from today versus in the other ones where we say you can own stuff individually if you want. So I think that's the history of it, more or less, the purpose of it. Is it necessary today? Well, it's almost like up to the individuals, right? It's like, what kind of deal are you getting into? Are you going to do the generally seen as more conservative route, and I have to go to work and you can stay home and do whatever and work, do house stuff, and it's still a joint effort? Are you both going to work? My personal preference would be everyone who gets married also fills out some kind of marriage contract. Like, doesn't Dave Chappelle have a thing about this where you decide how you're going to do it and you just make it part of the marriage documentation versus having to, fill out pay an attorney, right? Like when you buy a house and you fill out a purchase contract, it tells you what's included in that. It's like, or it's not super, it can be lengthy. You can go in and add stuff. Like if I had a massive chandelier, you can specify this is coming with me. But generally it's like how appliances generally stay, but you can specify I'm taking the garage refrigerator because I want that or whatever. That would be the easiest way to do it because I think it's very situational based. You could both be crushing it. One of you could be crushing it, the other one might not. One of you wants to stay home, the other one doesn't. So we're not going to find an answer that suits everyone. I don't think we're good at that. So is it necessary in today's society? I would say no. Overall, I would probably say no. Not overall, but again, it depends on what you're going to want to do, which is why you should just go get an attorney and set it up yourself. But no, I don't think, I just don't. But again, I'm also biased because, I'm obviously very unmarried. But if I get married, well, I got all this stuff on my own. Maybe you have some stuff, presumably, but, I don't want to just throw it in the middle. So I'm a little bit biased. So no, I don't think they're definitely not as needed as they were back then. Well, back then, it was probably the only fair way to do it. You just can't go back out 5 years after marriage, you haven't had a real job, and now you have no money. Like, that wouldn't go well. So I think that works. I mean, that was a fun question. Hopefully we didn't upset anyone marching, but hey, again, someone can let me know down below if that was not the right thing to say. KC here, two more. Robinhood Platinum is like the Amex Platinum for cash back. How much would you need to make back in yearly credits to keep the card? 2x annual fee, 3x, 4x, or is no? For me, no amount is worth it. I don't have any interest in the card, and I, excuse me, I also think that it's also about hassle and headache. One of the things that I hate on the gold card, when I had the last credit card with credits I had was the business gold, I want to say. And I just stopped using the credits because I didn't care. Like, I don't want to dial up on the phone, DoorDash, but do find a pickup place and drive by 5 other restaurants to go get it. Like, I just found them so annoying. It's just not what I do. I'm not into it. And so the headache, if I can't use them almost naturally, then I don't want to be bothered. And again, DoorDash isn't the hardest thing in the world to use. I just don't really have any interest. You know, if it's hard using like the cell phone credit on the Platinum card where I can just make a $10 payment every month, I'm really not interested in jumping through the hoops. I know some people are, some places you live, that just, it may lend itself to it. And the great deciding factor, again, is if they gave you these credits in one lump sum to use, then I think a lot of this is alleviated because over the course of a year, yeah, you're probably going to use them to their fullest. And if you're not, well, then the product definitely wasn't for you. And that goes through any card. So for me, I don't see it. There's too much. Besides, I'm not going to make enough to cover off. If it's cash back, I'm not going to make enough to cover off my other cards. I mean, I was talking about getting the autograph journey. Well, it's like, 5x hotels and 4x flights for $95 and an easy-to-use credit. So I'm already doing better unless I value the stuff that they put on the card. But they don't really have that much stuff on the card relative to other cards, right? They get priority pass, but, you might as well get one of the major issuers that generally costs less, and they offer their own lounges plus priority pass, sometimes Plaza Premium, plus travel insurances, things of that nature. This one's a Visa Infinite. I might have those, but still, for me, it's not worth it. I don't know that it's worth it for anyone. You could put, if you're going to do cashback travel, you'd be much better off with the Strata Premier, which has been the star of the show today. An autograph or an autograph journey, even the Sapphire Preferred. I just don't see how any of those are worse than the $700 Robinhood card loaded down with credits. And they've got a lot more obscure credits. The Venture X would be significantly better. So for me, I don't think there's any amount. Not interested in it whatsoever. Plus, you'd have to give up your gold card, which is like the one card people do want, which doesn't make any sense. Kramer here checking in, closing us out. Q1 is nearly finished. That is true. How are you tracking towards your goals for credit cards, banks, etc.? Surprises, good or bad? So surprises have just been the nerfing. I was pretty adamant that, I was like, no, Bank of America won't make it harder. Well, they made it harder. So I was really wrong on that. I was surprised at the Bill Rewards disaster. They've generally been decent at PR and stuff like that. That was surprising. And we've mentioned a lot of the nerfs before. Those were the two that were surprising to me, I want to say. Credit cards ending on a pretty good run after about a year and a half off. I'm back into it more or less. The Journey, which is $600, which is pretty good intro offer. And then when I got that one, I was like, you know what? Let me turn around really quick and get another one just before Wells reports that open account to my credit report. So I got a Cash Plus again, $200 offer. I didn't want to apply for one, but I've been calling U.S. Bank forever to try to product change my Smartly card. They just won't do it. So when I look at it, I need Cash Plus covers off 5% areas that I don't have, being utilities and gym memberships. So I might as well. I'm not going to get anything else at the moment. If I wait till like July, I'll go down to like 3 and 24, and then I'll have to figure out like what's the next move for the last few. But so that avenue's been pretty good. Bank promotions, I want to say I have the list. Hang on a second, I can tell you. 12 accounts open so far, and if everything paid out today, it'd be like $28.50. So Not great, but not bad either. To get to $10,000, you'd like to be 2,500 a quarter. So, that's not a bad start by any means. There's two more I'm going to try to open after this. They're on the website. I might try to do Citizens again. I think I'm eligible for that. It'd be 400 if they let me. And then there's an Axos Bank one, which might work. I'm not really sure. So it could jump. It could jump if I'm successful getting these open. So I say we're on track. But I basically have like an existential crisis until I get to my $10,000 number, for no other reason other than it's very up and down. You take what the game gives you, right? We don't really know. It's definitely getting harder. We're getting less offers. I don't know if we even had a direct deposit offer this year. Maybe one. But so I'd say overall after Q1, I'm doing okay. It's good to get 2 credit card approvals back to back, going so long without getting them. And they're 2 cards that I needed. Maybe not the most exciting cards, but I definitely needed them. So I've got 2 thoughts that I think are dedicated videos. One, after the Bank of America change, it's probably time to revisit how do you finalize the credit card setup. And then number 2, I think when we get to the halfway point at Q2, I'll probably do a check-in to see how we're progressing and what's going on there as well. Because then I'll really be able to what other last few cards I want to get before I'm over 524 again, which again, all the banks care about. I'd probably get one more card now, but we're just not seeing, like, the Citi cards don't have their higher intro offers yet, so might as well wait, especially as you can get less approvals. The amount of money you get matters more. So I'm happy to get 2 cards that I need, get that much closer to solidifying the wallet and the setup, which I do think is going to be more important going forward, given that, as we said, it's getting harder to get approvals. Things keep getting cut, as we've covered at length in this video. So having your 5% setup, I think, sets you up for continuous credit card income. I know the word income and credit cards might upset some, but versus just the highs and the lows of either I can hit an intro offer or I can't get nothing, or I can't get anything. So I think that's the route I'm going, is see how I can gold plate the setup, so all my spend is returning some money versus just having to wait until I'm eligible every other year. So we're about going to be on an every other year track at this point for really going hard on credit card offers, it seems. So all that to say, Q1, I think it's a solid Q1. I mean, we're not going to do the coach speech of go in and we got to make some adjustments at the half, but I think Q1 solid. I don't have any major complaints. I feel like despite my existential crisis, we're on track, cautiously optimistic, but again, it's going to be a fight to get 10 grand, but that's the way it should be. It keeps it fun. So there you go, guys. That is everyone's March questions answered. Some people's 58 March questions answered, but hey, we appreciate you writing in and watching. So, of course, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, because we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, we're back every Sunday with all the news you could use in the week that was in credit and finance. And, of course, every single day over on the blog, which is profitfulcontent.com, which you can always find linked down below for you and on the channel homepage. Again, thank you so much for writing in. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.